Welcome everybody, I'm Kalani, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you how I tuned all these instruments together to have this amazing background, super easy, that anybody could play, even somebody who doesn't even play music. So stick with me, I'm going to show you right now. One of the main instruments you're hearing in the track is ukulele. However, if you tune the ukulele regular tuning and strummed open strings, it would sound like this. But this ukulele, I did a retune, so it sounds like this, which is a D minor chord. So instead of the G, I tuned it to an A. Instead of the C string, I tuned it to a D. So the bottom two strings I brought up one step, whole step. And then instead of the E, I tuned the E to an F, which is our minor third. It's our third of the chord. So right there we've got our chord, and then the A string I just left, because that's our top fifth, our A. So, right? Beautiful. And normally if you strum the open ukulele, you'll get what we call a C6 chord, or you could also call it an A minor 7. Either way, but this way it simplifies it. It sounds beautiful. And so you could just hand an ukulele to somebody and say, hey, you don't need to do this hand at all. You can just support the neck with your other hand, and you could strum it, put it in your lap, or strum it like this down with your thumb, however you want. All right, so that's the ukulele part. Now let's move on to the next instrument. This is called a McNally Strumstick. And it's basically set up like a dulcimer. And here's what it sounds like in normal tuning. All right, it's got kind of a banjo-like sound. All right, it's got 3 strings, and normally this instrument is made to have D, A, D tuning. However, for this particular piece, I decided to tune the top D string up here down to a C. So now I've got that, right? Now why did I do that? I did that because if I play up the neck, now I can still get the D here. I can get an E here, and more importantly, I can get the F right here. So now I'm in D minor. If I didn't do that, this note right here would be a G, and this note right here would be an F sharp, which would be a D major chord. So instead of playing in D major, I want to play in D minor. So I tune it down, and I love this. It kind of has a Dorian mode feel, right? Now the nice thing about the Strumstick is that, again, I could hand this to somebody as it is, and I could say, you know what, you can either strum just the open strings, that's okay, or keep your finger right here on the first fret. And because this is a diatonically fretted instrument, you don't need to understand what that means. It just means that there's not as many notes on it. Like the ukulele is a chromatic instrument, so we don't want to be messing around on the neck over here unless we really know what we're doing. But on this instrument, I could tell somebody, just play the bottom string, and you can play any of these notes you want. All right, and you're okay. So that's another option. Same with the A string on the ukulele, but you need to know which notes to play, so it's a little more. That's level 2. All right, so level 1 is just strum the open, or keep your finger on the bottom. Now, you might be thinking, well, if you're not going to be playing up and down the neck, why don't you just tune it D, A, D, and you could do that. All right, that's another option. But this is like if you wanted to play this yourself in a track, or maybe somebody's okay, they're feeling brave, and they want to try just for one string, you know, moving up and down one string, then you could do that with this tuning. All right, let's move on and look at our last melodic instrument, which is super easy and fun to play. This instrument is called the Koshi Chime. And it's a special kind of chime. I'm not going to go into it. I'll leave a link down below where you can find out more about the Koshi Chime. But this is what it sounds like. Now inside of here, there's a bunch of metal rods, and the rods, or we call them tines, that's actually what's making the chime sound. And then there's like a marble in there, a glass bead that's hitting them. So it's pretty simple. This instrument is so easy to play, you guys. You can just pass it to somebody and say, hey, could you just gently play this? Now you could either do it from the string like this, right? Which is nice. Or, you know, just hold on to it, hold on to the body and play that way. All right, super easy. Now, here's the thing, you guys. This instrument is tuned to 432. What is it? 432 tuning. All right. Now, while I'm not a big proponent of that, they don't make a 441 as far as I know. Maybe they do now, but this one is 432. So what I did is I detuned the ukulele and the Strumstick to match this, because this is the only fixed tuning instrument. Well, not exactly. Kind of. I'll explain in a second. But what I did is I tuned the ukulele and the Strumstick down about 8 cents, right? Because A440, A432, take about 8 cents off. Now we're all in tune, and now everything's in tune. So that's what I did with the instruments. And then the last thing was the native flute, and I'll show you that right now. All right, so here we have the Native American style flute. This is a D minor flute made by Mad Max. And what I did to stay in tune with the 432, and it's pretty easy on a flute, is I just played with a little bit less breath pressure, a little bit less air pressure. And in that way, I can play these backing tracks, and I can tune by ear, and I know I just need to be a little more gentle with the tuning. So here's what that sounds like. There's only 2 other instruments that I did add, and one is a caxixi rattle. All right, so we got that. Let's bring that in. Here we go. And then I have a cajon down here. I played some bass notes on the cajon for a little heartbeat effect. So let's listen to some of the instruments individually. With the percussion, let's build it up. So we started with ukulele, right? And then we had the Strumstick. And in a second, I'm going to show you how you can play up the string and add to this. I did a real simple backing for this, just doing like a hammer-on from the C to the D on the A string. And then we had the Koshi Chime. I'm just, you know, shaking the chime. And these are all 2-bar loops. So I'm going to bring back the backing instruments, melodic ones, even the Strumstick, because I'm going to lay down I'm going to play on the A string of the Strumstick. Show you guys that. All right, you guys? What do you guys think? Before we go, I'm just gonna play a little. I'm also, in a second, I'm gonna read a little bit from this book. Now, before we go on, I wanna tell you guys, so I'm gonna play a little more flute, and I'm gonna read from that book. But first, let's get some background. Why? Why are we doing this? Why are we retuning? So you guys know I facilitate a lot of music. I create a lot of music for my participants, both in music ed, recreational music, and music therapy. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because it's very empowering to be able to hand an instrument to somebody who doesn't really know much and who might be intimidated and who might not otherwise want to play, unless you say, hey, you know what? All you have to do is strum this thing. You don't have to do any fingers over here. You don't have to know anything. Just do this, right? And then people will say, oh, okay, that's pretty easy. Or what's that instrument? What's that chime? That's cool. What is that? And so when we make music making super easy, all right, it just opens the doorway and we can bring people in to the music space, the music garden, all right? We can bring them in. They don't have to know anything. And that's what I did the other day with a group of adults. And they had the best time ever, you guys. It was amazing. I was impressed with what they were doing. They were having fun. They were getting into that flow state, you know, and jamming and, you know, just very nice, easy music. So you could use this for your own music making. Let's say you're a flute player or you're a drummer and you want to do some backing tracks, but you don't play ukulele and other instruments. Well, now you do. Now you can. All right. So just do these retuning, do a little bit of retuning, and you can get a long way. All right. So to close, I want to read a little bit from this book. I know you can't see the title. This is called The Radiance Sutras, and it's by Lauren Roche. You can look it up. Radiance Sutras, Lauren Roche. And I want to read a section for you guys coming up right now. While I do that, I'm going to give you the address for my Patreon, and maybe you can join me over there, all right? So that's coming up in a second. First, I'm going to play some background on the flute, and then I'll come in with a little passage from the book. I appreciate you guys watching today. If you do, please like the video by giving a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell so you get notifications, all right? Here we go. Dreaming, dreaming, sleeping, awakening. Rhythms of darkness and light, day and night, night and day. Wondering, who am I? Who am I? Who is morphing through this ever-shifting flow? Beloved, wake up. Dance in your true body before time, shimmering energy without end.